You can be anything you want. You can do anything you want to achieve. Wrong. That's a lie. Or is it a lie? Or is it only a lie because you tell yourself it is a lie? To cushion that blow that it isn't actually a lie. You're just unwilling to do the work that is required to make it a reality. And this is where we're at. And I think this is, for a lot of people, the problem with where they're at in their life. That they start lying to themselves about the world and where they're at and the reality of how they got there. You know, there are even news articles that we shouldn't tell our children anymore that they can be anything they want to be, that they can do anything they want to achieve, because it's unrealistic and it sets unrealistic standards for them. And I was just like, fucking what? That we shouldn't encourage our children to be dreamers. We shouldn't encourage our children to go live their best life. That we shouldn't encourage them to dream big. And as I said in that, here is the reality that I actually think it is. That you can be and do anything you want in your life. At any moment. At any moment, you can completely change the trajectory of your life for the better. You can become that man at any point. You don't have to have made it by 20 or 30 or even 40. You can rewrite the narrative at any moment in time. It just comes down to, will you? Are you willing to do what is required? Are you willing to put in the work, to sacrifice the things that need to be sacrificed, to reach that point, to reach that goal, to become that man? Are you willing? Because for the majority of people, the answer is a resounding fucking no. That they're not willing. They're not willing to do whatever it takes. And I think we need to own that. That however you decide to live your life is your prerogative. You are more than welcome to choose how you live your life. If you want to sit on the couch and stuff your face, or spend your nights doom scrolling or sedating away with alcohol and drugs, or whatever it may be, do that. That's fine. The whole point of freedom of choice is that you have the ability to do that. But fucking own that you're doing that. Don't have these stories of, oh, well, I couldn't do it because I wasn't genetically gifted, or I wasn't born in the right place, or I didn't have such and such, or the money, or the connections, or the whatever it may be. You know? It's that one of pull yourself up by your fucking bootstraps. Do whatever it takes. And yeah, I will 100% grant you, it is so much easier to do in your 20s. It is so much easier to do when you're younger and you have very limited responsibilities. I remember when, I first started my gym. It was just me. Me and my wife. Well, she wasn't my wife yet, but me and my wife-to-be. Living on fucking peanuts. And it didn't matter. It also didn't matter if it worked or not. Like, I wasn't gonna let it fail, but if it all went to shit, I could just go get a job and start over at a different point. Like, it didn't matter. Like, when I chased my basketball dreams, like, it was just me and out there and living this life and living my best life, and it didn't fucking matter. And yet, I think a lot of people will shy away from it because they're like, well, I have responsibilities now. I have kids. I have a wife. I have a house. I have a business. I have. And on the flip side, I think that's the greatest opportunity on the planet. because you have something to lose now. So when your back's up against the wall, there is zero chance, and I mean zero chance, that you're going to let that beat you. You are not going to crumble under that pressure. You have too much on the line. You have too much to lose to not do that work, to not make it happen. So I think that's a gift from God. I think it's the greatest thing, and that's where I'm at this point in my life. That I'm looking to build this. I'm looking to build this into the thing I feel called to do, into the thing that provides and supports my family. But at present, I have bills to pay. I have responsibilities. If I end up destitute, it's not just me who's like going back to live with my parents. It's my wife and my kids. And there are people who depend on me outside of that, in my business and things. This is bigger than just that would be nice. So I can't afford to fail. I cannot afford not to make it work. So I figure it out. So I change how I work, and I work harder, and I work differently, and I will not let obstacles and challenges stop me from progressing forward, because I have too much to lose. But I'm also not going to lie to myself about how I can't have this. I can have this. It's part of why I'm struggling with the being authentic and imposter syndrome and all that kind of stuff, because I know in here, I know deep fucking down that if I actually show up consistently and do the work for a long enough period of time, I will succeed. My body is a perfect example of that. My body is a walking advertisement to myself that if I just keep showing up and doing the work, I will win. And that's the difference. And it is hard sometimes, especially when, as I said, you've got things to lose, that you just keep slogging away. You keep doing the work. You keep having faith that what you are doing is going to work. But you also got to get better at your craft. You got to refine your craft. If I look back at the first episode I did of this, God damn, was that terrible. My God, was that an awful podcast. And so were the subsequent probably first 100. Hell, I think the first 126 weren't that great. And I got better, and I refined the process. And there are still things that need to be refined. I'm not saying these are perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but they're getting better. My ability to communicate is getting better. My ability to stay on point and cover the topics that I would like to are getting better. But, you don't get better just by showing up one day and deciding that you're good. You get better by doing the work. I was listening to a Jelly Roll interview, and he was talking about that, and he was like, part of the problem with the social media and stuff like this now is that people are jumping ahead of the queue without doing the work. And it's not a resentment thing against them, it's the fact that they don't know how to do the work. They don't know how to handle the crowd. They don't know how to handle showing up that way. They don't know how to handle it. So, yeah, they've jumped ahead in the queue, but they haven't put in the reps to learn how to do this. And that's part of the consistency thing. That's part of the showing up every single day thing, is that you just got to learn how to do it as well. You've got to refine your craft. You've got to refine your skills. So yeah, you can do anything. And I mean fucking anything that you set your mind to. If you are willing to sacrifice what needs to be sacrificed, you are willing to show up with effort and commitment and just do the work, you can win. You can accomplish anything. You can become anything you want at any stage of life. But the question is, A, are you willing to do that? And B, is the trade-off worth it? And this is the other question. I think people have goals and desires and things that they haven't thought all the way through. That they haven't actually considered properly. And the cost is high. And I don't think you understand what the reward is. And I don't think the reward is high enough. And that depends on the goals. And that depends on where it's at. And that can vary from making more money at the cost of spending time with your children. To a certain extent, yes, you need more money to have the freedom to be able to do whatever you want. Past a certain point, if you're sacrificing that time with your family and your children and the things that you say you're doing it for, what the fuck's the point? If you sacrifice too much, then where do you end up? If you sacrifice the things that you're doing it for, then what was the purpose of it all? And there are things like that, you know. But when we talk about health and fitness, you can become the healthiest and fittest version of yourself at any fucking point in the story. You just have to make the decision to change. You have to make the decision and actually follow through. So I started playing basketball again recently. And there was a big wake-up call, you know, on, not that I am not who I used to be, because I learned that one a while ago, but that I am no longer the young buck, but I am still demonstrably one of the fittest in that league. Now, that's not saying much. It's a local kickabout league. Like, it's not a big bragging point. And yet, at the end of the last game, 3 of my teammates were like, oh, I just need to drop 10, 15 kilos. Just need to drop some weight and get going and actually get into shape, and then I'll be good. And last time I was there, I could run up and down the court all fucking day. No problem. And then one of them was like, yeah, I've been saying that every year for the last 10 years that I need to get into shape, and yet here I am, still not in shape. And I was like, isn't that exactly the point? That you can say all the things, you can talk the game, but unless you are actually willing to do the work, unless you are actually willing to show up and do what is required, then nothing will fucking change. Nothing will ever become of it. You will not become that man. But you have to just be willing to sacrifice a little bit. You have to be willing to sacrifice the niceties, the sedation things, the things that are pleasant in the moment, but don't actually serve you. And, you know, we speak about this a lot because it is the champion thing that I keep coming back to. And if we're just talking health and fitness, it's food, it's alcohol, it's drugs. Just eat the right things. I tell you exactly what to eat. Just eat those. And you'll be good. You'll be fucking golden. You know? But it's the other things. And I have had the irony pointed out to me of saying that you should get off social media while on social media to promote my business. But it's a true thing. You know, you should just listen to me on a podcast and not be on social media. You can still enjoy the beautiful sound of my voice and gain all the knowledge that I have to offer. Just don't be on social media for it, you know? But it is this thing of we have to get away from the things that don't serve us. Or at the bare minimum, be honest about the fact that we are not willing to do the work that is required to get those things, to stop blaming circumstances, to blaming outside things. Your reality is a direct reflection of your choices. Therefore, you are always in control. You are always in control of what you are doing and who you are and where you're at in life. Don't like it, Change it. You ain't a fucking tree. Change it. Change how you do things so that you can be a better version of yourself. You are capable of those choices. And we have to start getting to that point where we be honest. And I also think life gets much simpler. Even if you don't choose to chase your greatness, even if you choose to, what you're doing right now is A-okay. Average as fuck, but, you know, it's fine. Cool. Fucking own that then. Own that shit. You know, there's a person that we know, and they are chasing God knows fucking what. And they go after it for 3 to 6 months, and then they come back again. And then they go after it for 3 to 6 months, and then they come back again. And they go after it for 3 to 6 months, and then they come back again. And I was having the discussion the other day, and I was like, if you just flat out admitted what you were doing, that you don't want to be here. And part of this is they travel a lot for this. And I'm like, if you just admit you don't want to be here, and that you're not going to come settle down, because the reason why they come back is that they're like, oh, I'm just going to do this for a short time, and then I'm going to come settle down and do this and stuff. You don't want to. Fucking own it. Own the fact that you don't want to settle down. Own the fact that you want to go be a free spirit and chase this. There's nothing wrong with that if that's what you fucking decide, but decide. Grow some cojones and decide on that fact. And just be that person. Cool, I'm just going to go chase this, and I'm going to flit around, and I'm going to make money doing this, just traveling the world and being free and not settling down into a stereotypical format. There's nothing wrong with that. You just decide how to do it. But this is the point. For as long as we lie to ourselves about why we are in the situation we're at, we lie to ourselves that we cannot have the things that we desire because of X, Y, and Z, there will always be a part of you that holds on to it that, like, maybe I could do it. Maybe I could. No, you can actually do it. You could have it all. You could have everything you fucking want. But are you willing to pay the price? And if you aren't, that's okay. Just be a man about it and own the fact that you aren't willing to pay the price. I have people tell me all the time that they aren't willing to pay the price that I pay to live this life. That's fine. Look, I don't understand why you wouldn't give everything for this. I don't understand why you wouldn't be willing to give up the things that do not serve you for your highest good. But if you own it and are upfront about it, cool. Then we're all on the same page, and that can be where you're at. And then you just get supported from there. This half-arsing it, I really wish I could do this, but I just can't. It's beyond my control. Or I really wish I had time to work out, but I can't. I'm just so busy. I really wish I had the capacity to eat better food, but I can't. It's just not possible. It is fucking possible. You just make choices. We all have the same allocation of time in the day. We all have the opportunity to make choices. You just choose not to. It's about what you utilize your time on and the choices that we make in that perspective and that format. But you have the capacity, you have the opportunity, you have the ability to do this. It's just whether you're willing to do it or not. That's the only question. If you're willing to pay the price. You know, to completely transform your health and fitness, here are the 5 things. Run through them again. They're really fucking simple. Get at least 10% of your body weight and go for a weighted walk every single day. Do a weight workout every single day. Eat an animal-based diet. Meat, eggs, fruit, honey. That's it. Drink 4 liters of water every day. Take a daily photo every day. That's it. It's not fucking complicated. And look, total, it would take you 2 hours to do all that. 3 if you decided to procrastinate the shit out of it, but 2 pretty standardly. That's not that hard. It's not that big an ask to find that much time. And people are like, I'm so fucking busy. I have no time on my hands. I couldn't possibly even dedicate an hour 3 times a week to my health. And I'm like, what are you fucking doing? Unless you are working that entire time, you have time. If we took your phone and we looked at how much time you spent on your phone, what would it say to us? How much time do you spend on your phone daily? I think the average adult is now up to 8 hours a day. So a quarter of that time, and you could build your dream physique. You could become the best version of yourself. You could start shifting all the areas of your life towards the best version of you. Like, are you watching TV? Are you on social media? Are you doing anything like that that doesn't serve your highest good? Do you go out and drink? Do you do these things? Like, are you just sitting there drinking wine or whiskey or beer or whatever the fuck it is? Doing these things that don't serve your highest good. If the answer is yes, and you don't work, 16 hours a day and then sleep 8, you have fucking time. You're just not prioritizing it. You're not willing to pay the price that is required to have that outcome. So be honest about that. And I get the pushback and people are like, what about enjoyment? You need enjoyment in your life. Well, I hate to break it to you, but those methods of sedation and numbing yourself out aren't actual enjoyment. They are not pleasure. They are dopamine chasing, and you are getting micro doses of dopamine, and they serve no value in your life. In fact, they are actually detrimental to your mental capacity and your health. They do not serve you. They are not making you happy. Happiness comes from effort, comes from completing things, comes from overcoming, and it comes from relationships. So pick those things. Do those things. Make better choices. We are so conditioned in society these days to think that we need to watch TV, we need to be on our phones, we need to drink, we need to partake in food. You don't fucking need to. You don't need to be part of that, any of that. You can still participate in society without participating in any of that. You can actually live probably a more happy and fulfilled life without any of that. We have just been conditioned to think in a very short period of time that how could we possibly be happy without that? But you'll find that the most successful, and often a lot of the happiest people, don't participate in those habits. It's like that Dan Martell one. People ask me what I did to be this successful. The answer isn't what did I do, the answer is what did I not do. And these are those things. These are the things that they didn't do. That successful people don't do. They instill discipline. They activate it. They live it. Their whole life is built about doing the things that will only generate value in their life. It's like the 3 foundationing principles that you ask whenever an opportunity is presented. Will it make me happy? Will it make me money? Will it improve my quality of life? Or make me grow? The answer isn't a resounding yes to at least one of them. It's a fuck no. And these are the questions you need to start asking yourself. And I have a great mentor who brings this one up, and it's the question of, are those things actually serving you? Are those things actually pushing you to make more money, to provide a better service? Are they improving my life? Are they making me better? If the answer isn't yes, then it needs to be an honest question of their value and their role and how quickly you can cut them out of your life. And I will be honest with you, this is one that I struggle with. Like, I am on fucking struggle street with this one at the moment. That there are parts of my life, including those things that I am telling you, that I am well aware that I need to cut them out. So I'm not saying that this is an easy thing to do. By no stretch of the imagination is it an easy thing to do. But but it is a necessary thing to do. And that's what I'm going to battle with at the moment. That's what I go to fucking war with at the moment, because I know that those things do not serve me. They do not provide me with value. They do not benefit my life. And I am pissing away time that I don't have enough of. I need more time in the day. So I need to remove the things that just do not serve me on that capacity, that do not bring me that level of enlightenment and growth and money or opportunities or happiness. I need to start making better choices. And I think so do you. If you aren't fucking happy with your life, then the answer is a resounding fuck yes, you need to make better choices. Because you're not happy with your life. End of story. Like, how much simpler does it need to be? If you aren't satisfied, if you aren't happy, if your life isn't kicking goals, kicking ass, taking names, then something is fucking wrong and you need to do something about it. And that starts with taking ownership. It starts with being honest with yourself and truly honest about what you want and what you're willing to sacrifice for it. And I know, because I'm there too, that you are so abundantly, heavily fucking addicted to this life that you're leading. I know it seems downright impossible to give up those things because you're addicted to it. Dopamine is a great fucking feeling. It is a wonderful thing to have pinging in your brain. And we all love it. It's why, we end up being little crack monkeys, like on a slot machine, pulling the trigger and being like, woo! Yeah, hit me with that. Because it is. We're basically just overgrown crack monkeys. And don't believe me? Look at the things like your food, like alcohol, like drugs, like social media, like all of these things. They have, companies, literal companies, not just people, not divisions, literal companies that are paid to figure out how to make it more addictive, paid to figure out how to keep you, swiping along, pulling the crank for more drugs in whatever form it is, whether it's alcohol, whether it's food, whether it's the social media, it's called doom scrolling for a reason, because your brain's like, oh, fuck yeah, fuck yeah, fuck yeah. There's a reason why we do binge eating and emotional eating, because you get when you're in a really upset situation, you eat a little bit, you're like, ooh, I feel a little bit better. Or, depressed alcoholics being a cliche, same with drug addicts, because it sedates the pain. So instead of trying to treat the symptom, treat the cause. Improve your fucking life. Build a life that you don't want to sedate from, that you don't want to hide from, and then start breaking the addiction, because they are two very fucking separate parts of the plan. You have to build the life that you are excited about every single day, that it doesn't matter. Like, you don't want to go on holiday. You don't want to take a break from this. You fucking love this life. This is what you G'd up for. And then you got to break the addiction to it, because even though you love that life, it can still be fucked up on how much you just want to chase that little dopamine hit. Because we've gotten into a point where you can get the dopamine without ever doing the work. They've now discovered that you can gain a dopamine hit by telling people on what you're going to do. You get the same level of pleasure from telling someone what you're going to do versus actually doing it and telling them that you've done it. How fucked up is that? So your body's like, well, why would I want to do this? This is really hard. It's really fucking uncomfortable. I told, my wife or my best friend or fucking whoever that I was going to do this. And my brain was like, ding, 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 ding. Winner. Now you're like, oh, now I got to suffer. Now I got to do hard shit. Now I got to put in work. Ugh, don't know if I'm up for that. But you have to overcome. You have to train yourself into the enjoyment factor of doing the work. An enjoyment factor of the process. Cliches are cliches for a fucking reason. It's not the destination, it's the journey. It's about who you become on the journey to this end destination. And that's part of it as well. Yes, you can be and do anything that you set your mind to, but it's also about who you become in the process of becoming that man. Who you become on the way to that guy matters as well. So you've got to go through the trials and tribulations. You've got to go through it, and you've got to come out the other side ready for it. And that's part of it as well. Like, I am so obsessed with the portion of the journey that I am on. I fucking love it that I don't want to take breaks off it. I don't want to have to be forced, well, not forced, but, have my days off, my 10 allocated days off. I get anxious if there is even a hint that I could miss my workout. I haven't, and I won't, but it makes me anxious and uncomfortable and shitty and irritable that I could miss out on that. So I don't let that happen. I just keep going. And this is the part where you just have to find another way. You have to fall in love with the process. And that's the hard part that I'm working on with the other areas of my life. As I said, I am ecstatic at where my life is, and yet blissfully dissatisfied. Because I love my fucking life and I don't want to break from it, but I know that I am capable of and will do so much fucking more. So I keep chasing that. But I'm still battling these demons of this addiction to the dopamine chasing, to the sedation, to all that kind of stuff. And I have to break that cycle. I've built the first part, now I've got to break the cycle. And it's not easy. It's not a quick fix. It's not something that just happens with a snap of your fingers. It is something that requires effort and discipline and focus, and I just haven't gotten there yet. But that's part of why I want to do it. Because the harder it is, the more you need to do it. The more resistance there is, the more you need it. The more you don't want to do something, the more you fucking should do something. If resistance is screaming at you that, this ain't a good idea, just leave that alone, like it's fine, don't do that stuff, the more you should be like, right, that thing, that's where the pot of gold is, that's where the breakthrough happens, that's where the growth is at. Your mind leaves clues. Life leaves clues. The universe leaves clues. Whoever you want to talk about, they leave fucking clues on how you can reach your next level, on how you can have your breakthrough, on how you can reach whatever you fucking want to reach. The problem is that it's disguised as hard fucking work. It's disguised as consistency. It's disguised in patience and follow through and not ever doubting the course and just continuing to show up every single day. That's what is required. And that's why most people will never in a million years achieve it. Because they don't have what it takes. They don't have that internal drive. They aren't willing to be honest with themselves about the situation. They aren't willing to truly look their blind spots and their weakness in the face and go, right, I can do this if I'm willing to pay this price. I could have everything I want and dreamt of if I'm willing to pay the price, and just keep paying the price for as long as it takes. And that's a daunting task for most people, especially once you've gotten embroiled in the ways that you're at, where you're very ingrained in who you are and what you've been doing. Change is daunting. It's like the one we discussed the other day. It's much easier to stay in a known hell than to chase an unknown heaven. Because it might be shit and you might fucking hate every second of it, but you know exactly what it is. You know exactly what you're fucking getting every single day. And that's comfortable, and that's easy. But we weren't here for easy. We're here for greatness. We were here to chase greatness and to see who we can become, and to see how we can become the best version of ourselves. So, are you ready for that? Are you ready to look yourself in the eyes and be honest that anything is possible? You are capable of doing absolutely anything you set your mind to. if you are willing to pay the price. If you are willing to do the work. If you are willing to show up and be that guy. Then it's possible. But are you willing to pay that price? And regardless of what the answer is to that question, have the honest fucking conversation with yourself. Because I can guarantee you that your life will be demonstrably better if you have an honest conversation with yourself about what this looks like. If you have an honest conversation with who you truly are and the choices that you are making. If you have that honest conversation, everything in your life will get better. It's just whether you're willing to have that hard talk, whether you're willing to face those demons. That is the question. So that's all I have for you at this point. I hope you took value from that. I hope that it served you. And that maybe this is the wake-up call that you've been looking for. Maybe this is what you've needed all along. And maybe it's time that you actually have that conversation. So please do. And if you do and you decide you're ready to step up, you're willing to pay the price, shoot me a message. Let's get you into chasing greatness. Let's see who you can become when you start doing the work. If you're not quite ready there, then please click the link in my bio. Grab my top 10 tools to transform your mental toughness. And lastly, if you took value from this, if this spoke to you, if you know someone else who needs to hear this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. I'm here every single day, sharing from the front, leading by example, and hoping to inspire you to do the same. So if you got something from this, please spread the word. Help me get it out there. And I'll be back again tomorrow. Until then.